Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Bryce Palmer with Armed Forces Insurance. I am so excited to be joining all of you and extremely proud, as well as my company is extremely proud to be sponsoring the second annual Military Marriage Day. We hope that there's many, many more of these events to come. So if you guys are as excited as I am, let's just start off. Throw me some emojis in the comment box or throw a quick comment in there and let you know how excited you are to be here, because I know we are. We're extremely excited to be sponsoring this. Now, I know what you're all thinking. This is about military marriage. This is about, this is about your family. What is an insurance guy here going to talk to us about today? And that is, I'll be honest with you, that's a great question, and I'm glad you guys asked it. I would be wondering the same thing myself. But today's topic is securely yours, being secure in your marriage. And I want to discuss how insurance can help with that. Now, I know just the other day you guys learned and heard about how, being secure in your finances, how having a financial plan is important. Well, I want to take that a step further. I want to talk to you about how part of that can be making sure that your finances are secure, that plan is secure. And the one way that you can do that is to make sure you have proper insurance in place. So that's what I'm going to do today is we're going to go over a few things, make sure that you maybe understand what you need to do, or at least give you that idea that, hey, I need to go ahead and take another look at my insurance. I need to reach out to my agent. I need to reach out to maybe a great company like Armed Forces Insurance that works with military members and make sure that you're properly protected against those unexpected events that occur that can really put a strain on a family, on a marriage, and can be that force that drives a wedge between people. So let's go ahead and begin and start this discussion. Insurance is there to provide you, your spouse, your family with that peace of mind, with that financial peace of mind. I mean, I've kind of already alluded to it. Let's face it. Life is stressful. Life is stressful enough with the day-to-day activities that we have. I mean, I don't need to go down the list, but I'm going to. You've got kids. I mean, you're running them to and from the soccer fields, to and from baseball practice, to and from school, to and from the pool, wherever it is. You've got kids. I mean, I've got 3 of them between the ages of 6 and 12. So we're constantly at the soccer fields running my girls around. It's nuts. Then on top of that, I've got job. I've got this to do. I gotta give talks to you all. I gotta get out and meet with groups that help military families. I gotta, promote Armed Forces Insurance as part of my job. So that's my stress. That's my activities that I have to do there, making sure I'm getting my job done for the company that I work for. You're all no different. Whether you've got your spouse is working, is deployed, is in the military, and we'll get to that in a second. Yourself, whether you work or whether you're just taking care of your family at home, all of those are it's stressful. That's what what more can we say? Moving. I know I don't need to talk to any of you about moving, because whether you've been through 1 PCS or 6 PCSs, you probably never want to have to go through another one again. But for many of you, that's coming up. That time comes every spring where it's like, where are we going to now? And then it's you wait for your orders, and then boom, you got to hurry up and plan your entire life, move everything within like a very short window. So that can be very stressful on families. Getting to the new location, making new friends, having the kids enroll in new schools, all of that. Again, I don't need to talk to you all about this. You all are the experts. You should probably be the ones up here giving the talk on that, not me. But then I mentioned it earlier, deployments. One of the family members, your spouse is off, has to go. The needs of the military, unfortunately trump all. And so off they go to another country, another location, leave you, the kids behind. That's stressful enough. And the list can go on and on and on. So those are everyday stressors that we have. They put barriers in front of us when it comes to marriage, when it comes to our relationships. But let me take this a step further, and by no means do I mean to scare anybody. By no means am I trying to stress you out here. I'm actually trying to take this to a step where you don't have to worry about this next topic. But let's throw a wild card in here. What happens if you experience a fire? You come home one day and the fire trucks are at your house, but your house isn't there, or it's partially gone. It happens. Heck, it happens with moving trucks. I know we probably all heard the story that recently occurred with that. And I don't say story, I should say the event, because it happened. A tornado comes through. I mean, I live here in Kansas, in the Missouri-Kansas region, in Kansas City. What do we have? We get tornadoes. And one minute you're sitting there watching TV, and the next minute you're in your basement wondering if your house is going to get taken. Hurricanes. For those of you who live on the coast, you're no stranger to that. Oops, I'm getting evacuated. The hurricane's coming, and everybody heads inland. Flooding, auto accidents, hailstorm, or worse. I mean, the list can go on and on with these events that you don't experience on a day-to-day basis, but when you do experience them, they can be life-changing and life-altering. What does that do to a stress level for a family? What does that do to a stress level of a marriage? Everything was going fine, and then boom, now you're having to figure out, where am I going to stay? How are we going to replace our property? Who's going to repair our home? Where's the money going to come from? And I tell you, I don't have statistics on it. I probably should have looked it up, but I guarantee money is the source of many, many issues within a marriage. So that's what I'm here today, is to discuss how insurance can mitigate these unexpected and uncertain events and give you that peace of mind to know that if a tornado does take your house, if you come home from a hurricane and the entire neighborhood is gone, if you're in a flood zone and a flood happens, which as we're talking about this now, is especially the spring into summer, it happens to a lot of good families. So I want to just kind of discuss what can happen. Let me share you a little story that maybe will make this personal. And as I do this, go ahead and throw a comment, throw an emoji, throw a question here. If any of you experienced anything that I've talked about, if any of you have any questions on anything I've talked about, please throw those in there. But let's throw an emoji if you've had one of those events happen, because I'm going to tell you about an event that happened to me. So here it's going on 10 years ago now. My wife and I were living in a suburb of Minneapolis, living in a townhome that we were renting. And it was just me, her, and then our oldest daughter at the time. At that time, it was our only daughter, but it turned out to be now our oldest daughter. She was about 2 or 3 at that time. She was, I left for work just like anybody else would on a normal day. Got up, made the commute, hopped the bus, and I drove it. I had the bus take me to work. I'm, doing what anybody does in a normal day. Right around lunchtime, I get all of a sudden, like, people are frantically trying to find me. I'd gotten up, take a break, go eat. And all of a sudden my manager comes in. He's like, Bryce, you need to call home right away. Like, what's happening? He goes, you need to call home. I don't quite know, but everybody's trying to get a hold of you. There's something happening at your house. So I panicked. I didn't know what it was. Was my kid sick? Were they injured? Was my wife hurt? Did the house burn down? All these things are running through your head in a split second. So I ran, as fast as I could through an office to my phone and called home. I found out that my house had been broken into. It was like Tuesday at noon, and my house had been broken into. Absolutely nuts. And this was a part of my life where I was just out of grad school. I didn't have a lot of money. I was just starting this new job where I was working. And I'm like, oh boy. But my first thought was not the money, was not the stuff that got lost. My first thought was my family. Was my wife and was my child, my oldest child, okay at the time? Were they okay? Were they in the house when this happened? Were they traumatized? Were they hurt? Did the people, what happened? I had no idea. And I know you've probably all been there in different circumstances, probably much more serious than what I'm talking about, where you just don't know what's happening to your spouse, but instant stress occurs. Called home, found out that they had gone to the zoo that day. We had an annual pass for the zoo. They had gone to the zoo, and luckily they were out of the house. So when the people came in, nobody was home. Now, that opens up a new worry. Well, how'd they know they were not home? Obviously, they were searching the house. They were casing the house out, essentially. Won't get into the whole details of how or why that happened, but I will tell you they eventually got caught, so that was a good thing. But when it came down to it, I was worried about my family. Once I found out they were okay, I was okay. And the reason why is this. I had insurance. I had a renter's policy in place that was going to help me replace everything they stole. At the end of the day, they just took stuff. Let's just be honest. A computer is stuff. This computer that I'm talking to you on right now, that I'm that I'm doing this video on, it's going to be bad. They're going to throw it away someday. Any of the electronics that they took, cameras, they took TVs, they took gaming consoles, games at the time, all of it can be replaced. Now, if you're trying to replace that out of pocket, if you're trying to write a check for that, I don't care if you've got $10 in the bank or you've got $10,000 in the bank. You don't want to write a check for items you already have. The less you have in the bank, the harder it gets. That's where insurance comes in. It can be an inexpensive way to protect against an event like that, where you don't have to worry, where am I going to get my TV? Well, you're going to go get it from Costco where you got it the last time, or Target, or Best Buy, or whatever store you purchased it at, because you've got an insurance policy that's going to help you replace that item in the event it's stolen, in the event that it's damaged in that break-in, and so that you don't necessarily have to worry about what can occur there. And the same can go for, a house fire, a tornado, a hurricane, whether it's the structure of your house, whether it's the structure of a shed or a detached garage in the backyard, the personal property on the inside of your home, whether you're moving across country. It's important to know that you're protected. And that's why talking to an insurance agent. More importantly, as I would probably mention, and I'm going to shamelessly plug right now, talking to a company that deals with military families on a day-to-day basis, that understand what you go through, is extremely important. Your agent down the street, an agent on an 800 number, is not going to understand what happens when you all go through a PCS move. They're not going to understand to know or ask the questions of and ask you what's important to be covered and what's important not to be covered in a move. What's important to be covered in your home? What extra items might you have in your home that aren't covered on a home policy that you might have because of your uniqueness as a military family? So making sure that you have the right protection to make sure you don't have to worry when something occurs is, again, extremely important. So let me go ahead and talk a little bit about a couple of the couple examples of insurance that we offer here that would be beneficial to you all. But at the same time, right now, this is a great spot. Take a moment, again, if you've had an experience like this, throw a comment in the box where you've had a situation where you've been maybe helped out by an insurance policy. Or on the flip side, maybe there's a situation where you had an event and you weren't helped out on your insurance policy, and you didn't quite know why you weren't covered, or you didn't quite understand it. Because those can be really frustrating, and that can cause another portion of stress. But any questions like that, I'd be happy to answer and make sure they get over to you and get an answer back to you so you can understand better. Or I encourage you to call us here at Armed Forces Insurance and have one of our licensed insurance representatives discuss that situation with you and how to better protect yourself in an event like that. So go ahead and throw something in the comment box, flash an emoji, whether you've had a good or bad experience, and let everyone know that they're not alone. But let's go ahead and talk a bit about a couple of products that we have and that we can offer. So at Armed Forces Insurance, we offer wide-ranging products of personal insurance. Everything auto, home, boat, umbrella. The umbrella is that liability coverage that kind of overarches all your policies to make sure that if you are sued due to an auto accident, trip and fall at your home, that you're covered. Again, anything that you have like ATVs, RVs, autos, you name it, we've probably got an option for it. Heck, if you're even starting your own business, we can help with that. But let's go ahead and talk a few things. Auto insurance is extremely important to make sure you have the right coverage for you. The reason for that is many, but mainly because auto accidents can happen at any time. We've got a ton of distractions in the car, everything from cell phones to radios, but other drivers, kids in the back yelling, you got to tell them to be quiet, and just all kinds of madness, all kinds of electronics in the vehicles now. I know I can't go anywhere without having a DVD playing, if we're going on long trips to see Grandma and Grandpa, but you hear that in the background if you don't have headphones. All manners of things can be going on in the car at once. So having auto insurance is important, and it's important. One, it covers the vehicle yourself. So if you've got a brand new 2021, 2022 pickup, maybe you're on the list to get that, that new Ford Bronco that's coming out, or maybe you have an older car, but if you get in an accident, you're not going to have the money to go replace that again, because if you have a loan on that car, guess what? They don't care if it's wrecked or not. They want their money. So making sure that you have a policy in place that's correct to cover the vehicle if it's damaged. Number one, against an accident or a hailstorm or theft is important, but also in case you hit somebody. And so often I find that military families get a policy when they're 21, 22, 23, the early 20s, and they don't have proper coverage. They get that policy that they can afford, but not that they necessarily need. So the important part of that is making sure you review that and you have the right coverage. So I had one, we saw one the other day where a family got it. I think they were 23, 24, and they'd put, the minimum coverage, it was like $25,000, the lowest that the state allowed, $25,000 to $50,000 of coverage. I see this all of the time. And then what happens is 10, 15 years later, they're shopping around again, probably because, they bought a new house, they get a couple extra cars, their kids are getting older, they're looking to save some money, but make sure they have the right coverage. And they should be higher. They should be at that 100,000, maybe even that 250,000 level of coverage to make sure that if they get in an accident, their personal wealth, their finances are protected. And so I look at that a lot, and I'm just like, wow, nobody's reviewed this with them, with a lot of these other companies out there. And that's what we want to do. And that's what I'm here today, is to encourage you to go back to your agent. Come give us a call, whatever it may be. At the end of the day, I don't care what you do other than you just look at your policies and make sure you're comfortable with them. But making that correction, making that incremental jump up in liability can be the difference between the stress of, one, an accident is stressful. Let's just be honest. But now you injured somebody. You're at fault. Do you have enough to replace their car? Do you have enough for their medical bills? Was an ambulance involved? Was a helicopter life flight involved? Because if that's involved, that's $25,000 at a minimum right there. And that can wipe away some of the policies that I see that come through our doors. So make sure that you're secure there, because if you start getting beyond the insurance, they're only going to pay so much. And whatever's on your policy is the maximum they're going to pay out. What happens after that is it starts to go into wage garnishment. It starts to go into your personal finances. And again, it gets back to what causes stress within a marriage, what can cause issues between the two of you, which is money. And if you start owing money in these types of things, when you could have had an insurance policy to better protect you, it's just essentially key to look at that. And the final thing I'm going to touch on today is home or renter's insurance. These are big, big items. And I don't care if you're living on base, I don't care if you're living in government housing, or you're renting off post or off base, or you've purchased a home where you're at. You need to make sure you have the right coverage to replace all your personal property, just like I discussed in that theft situation. Turn that into a fire or tornado. Either way, if your property is damaged due to a claim, you want to make sure you have enough money to replace your TV, but not only your TV, your kids' clothes, your kids' toys, your beds, your dressers, your sock drawer. You would not believe how much money you have built in your sock drawer. I mean, socks are expensive. Underwear is expensive. Clothes can be expensive. So you want to make sure that you have what you need. On the home policy, it not only covers your personal property on a home policy, but it also covers the home structure you live in. Do you have enough coverage if your house burns down to replace your home? Again, to replace your personal property. I mean, every single day I hear the struggles of military families when it comes to covering their belongings, when it comes to covering their home, when it comes to the issues that happen inside the home, damages due to water claims, damages due to fire claims, the washing machine broke, and water went everywhere, pipe in the wall burst. I could go down the list. I mean, again, any of you have experienced this, and not to bring up the bad, but throw an emoji out there. Let people know that they're not alone. But there are ways to mitigate that with insurance. And again, when those events happen, it can get stressful, because let's say you come home and you come home to a lake. I had that happen too. Different townhome. I was not married at the time. I was going through school, and my buddy called, who lived right next door to me, and he's like, "Hey Bryce, you might want to head downstairs. We've got water. Their washing machine broke." I'm like, "Oh boy." So I went down and I hit the floor, and squish, 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 squish. There was water everywhere. I had to go stay somewhere else. I'm sure you probably know, but if you don't, on your home policy and on most renters' policies, there is money for you that if there is a claim situation, that the insurance will help put you up. So you and your spouse do not have that stress of where are you going to stay? Where are you going to eat? What are you going to do? Because you've got an insurance policy that's going to help you recover that money that you would spend on those things. It's going to help reimburse you for that. So you come home and there's a fire. Boy, you might have the clothes on your back, and that happens to families. Or a hurricane, you throw everything you can in the car and you take off and you come back and everything's destroyed other than what you have. You got to start replacing that quickly. And for some families, payday might be next Wednesday and you've got $100 in the account. What are you going to do? Insurance is there to make sure you don't have to stress about it, because there is money involved for that. So not only will it cover the home, not only will it cover your personal property on a home or renter's policy, but there's also additional living expense, and it will cover the liability if someone hurts themselves on your property. Again, it is giving you that peace of mind, that comfort to know that if there's a problem, you're protected. So I've talked enough today. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank you all for being here. We are extremely proud. Again, I am honored to be here. Our company is honored to be sponsoring this, to be able to present this information to you. And again, I would encourage all of you, if you have any questions or concerns, drop it down. If you enjoyed this presentation, let me know. If there's anything I can do for you, please put it in there. Reach out, jump online to afi.org. Again, that's Armed Forces Insurance, afi.org. Jump online, give us a call, shoot us an email. All of our contact information is online, and we would be more than happy. Our agents would be more than happy to answer your questions. We're here to educate. We're here to help. We're here to make sure our military families are protected. We've been helping military families for 135 years now. We want to do it for 135 more. So please give us a call. Let us know how we can help. Again, thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay strong in your marriage. Make sure you mitigate and you alleviate all the things that can put stress on a marriage. Again, life is busy enough. You don't need a claim or an insurance issue to be the reason for that. Thanks again, and I'll leave you with this. At Armed Forces Insurance, our mission is you. Have a great day, everyone.